Hello, I'm Rosemary Hallberg with the Southern IPM Center, and I'm sitting here with Blake Layton, the IPM Coordinator of Mississippi. Hello, Blake. I'd like you to tell me about your program.
Okay, Rosemary, it's good to be here today. So this is the Mississippi IPM Extension Implementation Program, and this is funded by the National Institute for Food and Agriculture. And this was a 3-year program that ended in August of 2017. So we have that point about it being an extension implementation program. To me, that's really important because most of the funding that comes to land-grant universities from either federal or state or private sources is for research. So it's to create new knowledge, but that knowledge is no good to anyone if it's sitting on the shelves in a university publication, in a book, or in a professional journal.
Yes.
So the goal of the extension implementation programs is to get that knowledge to the end user.
All right. So what are your project objectives?
So our objectives, I guess there's 3 points there. Our first objective is to develop kind of a comprehensive extension IPM programs for the various areas in which we work, and then to deliver that to the end user. Now, the goal of that is to first provide that end user with information that helps them avoid or solve pest problems. That could be a disease, an insect, or a weed, in a manner that is acceptable. The second part of that then is that it be cost effective, so that it be something that allows that producer, if we're dealing with producers, to make a profit, or if it's a homeowner, something that they can actually afford to do. And then the third part of that objective is that it be something that or that the bottom line is that it doesn't adversely affect the environment or people, either through the use of pesticides or other strategies that might be employed to control those pests.
Okay. So what kinds of products did your project produce?
So this is a traditional type of extension program, and so we produce a lot of the kinds of products that extension people produce. Number one being extension publications, and like for this, well, this was a 3-year grant. For the last year of this grant, for the year ending in August of 2017, for that 1 year, we had 10 specialists involved in this project, and we produced a total of 40 extension publications. And there's a lot of examples there, but there's one, for example, on agronomic row crops, and that's one that's done every year because you got to keep that up to date. We have another one, control fire ants in your yard. We update that fairly regularly once we produced it, but it's to help homeowners know how to control fire ants.
Right.
We have another one on organic vegetable control for our organic vegetable growers, and then there's obviously a bunch more. Well, in addition to that, we also have what we call other publications, and those might be publications in a referee journal or something like that. Okay. There were about 46 of those that year. There were about 110 newsletters or newsletter articles that were produced by our different personnel.
Wow.
And so then we had, we do a lot of presentations going out in the state. These are state and local presentations.
Right.
I think we had about 205 of those.
Okay.
A lot of extension trials and demonstrations, well over 200 of those. And then and some websites that are maintained. So getting information to the public in different ways. But Mississippi being a small state, we're also able to interact one-on-one with a lot of our clientele. They can call us and ask us questions. We see them at field days. We see them at plant and patio shows. And so as far as contacting those, I think for our 10 scientist group, we contacted over 5,000 individuals. And that's, one-on-one, either to identify a pest or to answer a problem. What do I do about this pest? Or can you provide me with an overall recommendation on how to control this pest in conjunction with the other pests that we have, a comprehensive pest management program. And that's very useful for us because it not only allows us to answer the client's question, but we get feedback. It's a two-way street. And so by interacting with those clientele one-on-one, we as specialists get to learn, hey, these are their needs. This is the resources they have to solve that. This is their thinking about that. And so we can tailor our responses not just to that clientele, but then we learn, hey, these are shortcomings in our program that we can adjust, or this is a need that we can meet in future programs, that type of thing.
Yeah. Excellent. So how do you think that your project is having impact?
Okay, that's the one question we spend a lot of time thinking about.
Yes, we
one
all
of the things
do.
I enjoy thinking about it, but it's hard to put dollar amounts on that. And the reason I
Yeah.
think that is that you almost have to do a special research project to get that
Yes,
kind of
that's right.
information. But in a more general sense, we can use it. For example, if you think of a soybean farmer that makes more soybeans for less pest control input, he's greater yield, he's providing the public more money, he's making more money as a result of the information on pest management that he receives from our agronomic row crops IPM group. Or if you think about a person that sometimes it's things that didn't happen to us, bad things that didn't happen to us. So a homeowner that doesn't experience a termite problem, doesn't have a bad termite
Right.
infestation, have a big repair bill
Yeah.
because of information that they got from our consumer and urban program that helped them realize, hey, I need to do this to prevent termites.
Right,
So
yeah.
that's a big economic benefit to that one person, and it happens throughout the state, but we can't really put dollars and cents to that.
Right, yeah.
So, and there's host others, like you could say a person that doesn't get a disease that's vectored by mosquitoes. Well, they never know they didn't get that disease. Or a little more applied, maybe a municipality that's able to do a better job of mosquito control and a better job of Zika education because of the interaction with our public health IPM
Right.
program. So those are examples of some of those benefits.
Yeah. So ultimately, how is the Extension IPM program impacting the public good?
Yeah, okay. So let's think about food for just a minute, because here in America, we spend roughly, the last figures I saw, about 10 to 12% of our budget goes to buying food. And that's less than any other country in the world. And I think that's still a fact, And so that has huge benefits, because when people spend less money on food, that gives more discretionary income.
Right.
And so that, so there's obvious benefits to farmers and homeowners that save money because they didn't have to treat for termites. But then the bigger picture is there's a lot of people out there that are benefiting from just our more efficient agriculture. Now, we in IPM can't take credit for that. That's due to our horticulture and agronomy peers that are producing better varieties and better ways to manage those varieties.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter how much food you can grow, how much yield you make on a crop, if you can't protect it from the insects and diseases and weed pests that attack it. And
Right, yeah.
here in the South, we've got most any crop we grow, if we don't do a good job of pest control, you can lose 50% or more to yield real easily. So, the fact that you have less dollars spent on food, that ends up benefiting businesses that people don't traditionally think of as being agriculture dependent. And it might be things like the movie theater or the beauty parlor or the dress boutique or the lawn care service. And if we think back to 2008 and what happened after that, we saw a lot of these areas that depended on discretionary income, they began to suffer first. And so if we just extend that, well, what would happen if our cost for food doubled or tripled? These would probably be the businesses that suffered first.
That's right.
I think of IPM as being, in our IPM program in Mississippi, as being one cog in that wheel that helps make cheap food available to all citizens.
Yeah.
So, I think it's beneficial to all of our Mississippi citizens, even though sometimes maybe the ones that are benefiting the most probably wouldn't even know what IPM was or recognize that stands for Integrated Pest Management, or even know what Integrated Pest Management
exactly.
meant.
Yeah. And if you could leave us with one thought today, what would that be? One thought about IPM in general, or about your program, last words that maybe we didn't cover.
Well, I think it would be that thought about the fact that I just really covered, is that IPM helps make more food for less money. And so it provides benefit to all sectors of society, not just to farmers, not just to vegetable producers or homeowners with pest problems. It also provides benefit to those people that may have a job that wouldn't exist if we spent more of our income on food, if we had to spend more of our income on food.
Right.
So
Well, thank you very much.
thank you. I enjoyed this interview.
Yes. And remember, more food for less money.